when we first got here, we had no running water and we had no toilets or anything else like that. So I had to come and collect all of our water from the stream down here. I collected them in buckets and I carried them back to the trailer, took them all the way back up to a 220 litre blue drum. It's the stream that I collected it from. And that was our running water. It took me about an hour. Had to do it every day. And yes, it wasn't really drinking water, it was just for flushing toilets and running the shower and things like that. And I thought we'd have a look at this water pump and filter that I've been sent, because it would have been quite a handy thing to have early on. It doesn't pump for house pressure, so it's not like a pump and filter that would do the whole house, but it does pump enough to pump the water through the system to filter it, and it's supposed to be drinking safe. So we'll have a look at it. We'll take it down to the river and have a look. It was about 3 to 6 months before we had any drinking water here, and you'd think that would be the very first thing you'd focus on, but you'd be surprised how your priorities change when you've actually tackled a problem like this, because you start off thinking drinking water and all that kind of thing, but we had no toilets either, so you want flushing toilets and you need the toilets to go somewhere, and then you need all of your possessions outside are getting all wet and you want to cover that all up. So suddenly you realise drinking water is not actually that high. I mean, it is high up the list, but it's not the very highest. We're kind of lucky with the civilization we live in that we can go and buy drinking water, because that's what we did, is we bought those big 5 litre drinking water, like spring water, mineral water, and that was just what did our drinking water. We boiled some, but generally speaking, my wife and son, they drank the bottled water. So we'll see what this device is like and see what kind of things it can do. So when you get it to your chosen place of water, chosen source of water, you just lob this end in here that's got like a filter on the end to stop it sucking up leaves and things like that. Get that out of the way. It's got two pipes on the other end. One's a blue one for drinking, one's a white one for not drinking. It's got 2 filters in it. We'll go over them later on. One's a reverse osmosis filter and the other one says hybrid, but I'll read you the description once we get there. And it's got a battery in it too, so you just turn it on. And this one runs first, and it takes a while for the pressure to build up in the drinking water. I haven't found a way of turning off the other one. I suppose if you put a tap on the end of that, it might stop it, but you have to wait a few minutes before the blue one starts to pump through. So we'll just leave that flowing. And I've prepared 2 glasses, which I've boiled or poured boiling water in from the kettle, so that we can test the effectiveness of the water. So I'm just going to let this flush through for a few minutes. This is just coming straight from the river. That'll do. So the thing I noticed immediately about this is that the water is completely clear. I'll show you, I mean, you can see the colour of it over there. And I would have said that'd be quite difficult to get out because it's very fine. Look, there's no visible particles in that, it's just kind of brown. And this one that we've just poured is actually clear, so that's quite impressive. I didn't think it would do that. I've got some test strips so that we can test the water, but spoiler alert, I've already filmed this once and the camera decided to delete it all, so I know what's going to happen. I'll just tell you, the stream's so clean that nothing registers. So the water is completely, nothing shows up. These are just those tester strips because I didn't want to have to send away for a far more advanced water analysis because it would have taken forever. And if anything went wrong like it did on the first filming, it would just take me months to get this out. So the stream is so pure that there's just nothing in there to pick up. I have done 2 bacteria tests when I filmed it first time. I've done one of the stream before and I've done one of the stream, this water, afterwards. And it just seems like we're in a really lucky location here where we're quite close to the source, so there's very little contamination in the water already because there's nobody upstream from us, it's just us and then the mountains. So we'll go and find some dirtier sources, I think, to put this through its paces. But before we do that, I think we'll do a taste test. I wouldn't recommend this, but it's funny because it has a colour, you think it's going to taste really strong, but this is the only taste test I'm going to do. I wouldn't recommend drinking from bodies of water that you don't know. My son and I play down here a lot, so we already, you know, when I go for a walk I have a drink from the stream as I'm passing, so it's I've never got ill from it, but it just tastes really fresh. You kind of expect, because this has a colour to it, that it's going to have a flavour, but it actually just tastes really clean. Sometimes the water here sort of sparkles. One thing I've always been curious about is bottled drinking water. I would suspect it's worse for you than we think. So we're going to test some of that and see what the outcome of that is. But an honourable mention goes to this guy, which is our ferry. It's a portable power bank. We had a big EcoFlow before, which was our, you know, we've seen our other videos, you know, it ran our whole lives for a good 12 months. But that thing was big, and you weren't going to be lugging it round, and it kind of wasn't big enough to do a whole house, but was also too big to carry around, so it was really quite difficult. You know, you weren't going to be lugging it up. But this guy is 800 watts, so it's reasonably small. It's half a kilowatt. What have we got there? 512 watt hours. So half a kilowatt. It's got USB, all that kind of stuff. It's got just one 240 volt plug, and then you can charge it from the wall, or you can put solar panels on it. But the best thing for me is, like, I need power quite a long way from where we have it sometimes, because we got the top of the hill, and this guy just fits in the quad bike storage, so I can just take it up there, and it's nice and light. So I just kind of leave it here, and it's just really useful. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in that, but that's got a handy little thing to have. Right, so now we're back up here. Let's get Co-op's mineral still water tested. This isn't really, you're not going to buy drinking water, are you, and then put it through this filter, but I just thought it'd be interesting to see what's in this. Is it really as clean as we think? So I feel like we've purged this enough now. Right, what do you reckon? So this is the drinking water. Yeah, you see, it's already different, although not drastically. In fact, the only thing that's different here, I think, is the alkalinity and perhaps the pH. It seems to be more stable because when I tried the one straight out of the water bottle, the pH and alkalinity were changing quite quickly. This one seems to be more stable at the 0 alkalinity, and pH seems to be closer to what it was from the river. So it's certainly more stable, but it's not really giving us a huge test of filtering out anything, is it? So I was starting to think, where are we going to get some grubby water from? And then I found two sources. This bit here, which is just kind of, you know, stale pond water really. I've tested it already with a strip, and again, nothing's showing up. I think that's probably because all of this is metals and shows pH and alkalinity and stuff. We'll do a quick test and just see what we're up against, I think, but most of this is just testing the metals, and there's not going to be any metals in this water, is there? Because it's where's it been introduced from? It's just really neutral water, so it seems like it's actually quite hard to find bad quality water, at least here. But that doesn't mean we're defeated. We're going to see how clear this water is after pumping it through. I'm not drinking this one, but it does a good job of removing particulates because it seems to be nice and clear. But we've got one final test that I found, and we'll just go and do it. So the bacteria tests are going to take 24 hours. They have to sit for 24 hours. So I'm not going to be able to come out with the results just now. So we're going to wait until tomorrow for that. We've done the water test, you know, the bottled water test. The reason I'm carrying this charger around with me is because this is how it charges. It's got a USB-C cable, and you just plug it in, and then you can plug it into the wall, or you can plug it into something like this. It's got a power bank, and just charge it that way. So it does have a battery in it, which is really handy because it saves you from having to carry around a plug. I mean, this guy does have a plug, but not everybody's got one of them. The filters on this, we have two types. One is a hybrid filter which says PP plus activated carbon layer, effectively filter water sediment, rust, suspended matter and other large particles and water organic matter, and improve the taste of odour removal. A bit dodgy translation there, and the second one is an RO filter, which is a reverse osmosis membrane filter with a filtration accuracy of 0.0001 nanometers. This system effectively removes contaminants like fluoride, limescale, heavy metals up to the standard of direct drinking water. So that's what it's got. I'm not going to pull them out just yet because we've got a pretty big test to do on it. So this here is the worst water that I could possibly find. It's what I've been using to wash my paint, white spirit. It's got all kinds of terrible stuff in there. It's just my dumping bucket for liquids, and I leave it in the bucket so it kind of condenses and evaporates, and then put some more water in it again. So we're not going to be doing a bacteria test on this one, but I think we should see how bad is it to start with. I'm not going to be using this to drink from afterwards. They've just sent me this to have a look at, and I thought it was an interesting device, so that's why we've agreed to do it. So I'm not going to be using this for drinking water, especially after throwing it in here. Somewhere in the middle. I mean, this one's at least registering something on here, isn't it? Pink for zinc. We might have some zinc in there. We might have some sodium chloride, and we might have some fluoride. So we've got stuff. Let's see if we can't break the filter. Oh man, I can't believe I'm putting that in there. Oh, I need something to pour that into. I'm pretty sure at the bottom of this bucket there'll be a thick, goopy layer of paint, so this is going to be interesting to see what it does. The reason it's spraying stuff out now is because it purges the system every time you turn it on. So it says here there's 30 seconds while it flushes. So it's flushing the system through the non-drinking water pipe, and then it starts to flow out the drinking water pipe as well. I can hear it chugging a bit more, so it's working a bit harder on this. Well, the sodium chloride and fluoride seem to be registering a little lower. The other one wasn't very high. And then our pH is down at normal. Our alkalinity is down at normal, and our hardness. So it does seem to have, it has done something. These tests are pretty difficult to read, so I can't categorically say that it's done a huge amount. And without sending away for those really permanent tests, it's quite hard to tell. But the thing you definitely can tell is that that's what that looks like, and that's what it looks like coming through that. So I mean, it definitely, the particle filter definitely works. It tells us that it's removing all the muck in it, and without a deep chemical analysis, I'm not sure I'd be able to tell how it's pulling that through. So we'll see how the bacteria tests come back with. But then I'm not expecting there to be E. coli or anything in the river anyway, so we'll wait till tomorrow and we'll see what it comes up with. So we've got our bacteria test back. So it's been 48 hours. We've checked our bacteria tests, and surprise, surprise, neither of them have any harmful bacteria, and as we suspected. So there's that. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, can this device really pull out bacteria? Because how does it do it? We've got a UV light on our water system here, and there's no UV light on this. I wondered if there's a UV light that's kind of hidden in it. There's not. So I did a bit of research. Firstly, when I said the figures earlier, they're not nanometers, the units I said, they're microns. And the first filter here is a hybrid filter, which seems like a kind of general filter. This one's a reverse osmosis filter, as we mentioned. And it's got a membrane size of 0.0001 microns, not nanometers like we said before. And the width of most harmful bacteria you're going to find in water are 0.2 microns. And that's the narrowest width. They're about 1 micron long. So the filter size, the pores, if you like, in the filter that it's got to press the water through, are just far, far smaller than bacteria. So it does actually stop the most harmful bacteria from getting into the outlet water of this, which I think is really impressive. I'm kind of considering a reverse osmosis system for my drinking water here, because you haven't got to worry about UV light going on and off. So that's quite impressive. It does mean that all the bacteria are then in the filter, so you have to be more on top of swapping this in and out rather than it just being dirt. It's actually stopping any bacteria, so you do have to be on top of that. After my use, pushing all that rubbish through from the bucket, you definitely wouldn't want to be using these filters. You want to replace them straight away. But yeah, it's done a good job. I mean, the filters are what seems to be doing the heavy lifting here. The big plastic box that it comes in is just the pump and the holder of the filters. So there we go. It does actually take pretty rubbish water, make it clear, remove smells, remove particles, and also block bacteria. So it does the job that it says it should do. Like I said, you're not going to take this around with you in a backpack, but you might take it in the back of the Defender if you're going out for a day camping and you're not actually going to trek too far from the vehicle. So I'd say hill, well done. Next one's likely to be our camera. As I said in the last one, the little remote camera that we're going to take up to the top, putting that together in the office at the minute. So if you'd like to come see the next one, come join us. Nice to have you here. We'll see you then.